What's up? What's up? Real MVPs, Ricky Widmer here, and I feel like I haven't done one of these in a while, or I should say we haven't done one of these in a while. It's been forever since Johnny and I have sat down and have done a movie review. That's the last time we used to do movie reviews, when Johnny and I would do them on the Rick and Johnny podcast, but I am back. This is the first of hopefully many movie reviews as some are coming out digitally, and hopefully sooner rather than later, COVID will be over so that we can go back to movie theaters, because God, AMC, I'm not coming to your theater anytime soon. But we're back with a movie review. These are going to be the MVP movie reviews, and I guess the honor, or really it should be dishonor on Disney, as everyone's going to make that joke. The dishonor on you, dishonor on your cash cow, dishonor on you. Like, everyone's going to make that joke. Let's be honest. It's just served up on a silver platter to us. But I am reviewing, or I have the honor, I guess, of reviewing Mulan, the live action Mulan movie. And if you guys cannot tell already, I did not like this movie. I will be completely honest. I tried to go in with an open mind, because, so I was talking to my mom about it, and I'm like, I'm not really excited about watching this movie, but I'm going to try to come in with an open mind, because sometimes trailers can be deceiving. Sometimes we don't like things just because they're different than what they were before. But yeah, about 40 minutes into this movie, I was already like, how much more time do I have left? Like, usually a barometer for me is if I have to check my watch, or if I have to check my phone in a movie theater, or in this case, I have to scroll my mouse over and go, how much time is left? Usually the movie ain't doing too well. So how I'm going to do this is I'm going to split this up. First off, there may be some spoilers in here. I'm going to get pretty ranty with some parts, so I'm just going to warn you now. If you haven't seen the movie, go ahead, watch it. Well, actually, don't watch it, because it's a waste of $30. Like, if it's just you, it's a waste of $30. If three or more people are going to watch it on your Disney Plus, all right, it may be worth it, but even then, it's probably not worth it. So, like, if I was telling somebody, hey, should I spend the $30 on this? I would say no, wait until December 4th when you can see it for free. But hey, maybe you want to see it for yourself. You want to gauge your own mind. And the thing I will say is, if you like this movie, please let me know why. I want to know the other side. I want to know how the other side thinks, because yeah, I didn't like this. So there will be some spoilers in this. I'm going to try to do so. I'll go through my positives first, my negatives, and then I've got kind of just two thoughts at the end that are neither a positive or a negative, but kind of relate to this movie. And I'll start with the positives, mainly because there's not a lot of them. I have, two, maybe three positives, depending on how you look at it. And the first positive that I have for this movie is that the scenes in the movie are beautiful. Like, there are beautiful set pieces in this movie when they show all of Mulan's village, when we get the battle, which in the original was the one with the firecracker rocket that started the avalanche. Like, there are beautiful scenes in this movie. And one of the things that I think is the most beautiful, that I'm actually, so going in, I was upset that we were not going to get Mushu in this, because Mushu was one of my favorite characters from the original. And I know Kid Ricky, older Ricky, maybe that's just Kid Ricky saying, hey, I liked Mushu because, woo, he made me laugh. But I was kind of upset that we weren't going to get Mushu. And what we got instead was a phoenix, because how they played into it was, instead of like, oh, the great Mushu, go wake up the ancestors and have all of that comedy, was they kind of set it up that, hey, the phoenix is the protector of our family. This is kind of the spirit that we look up to. So we see the phoenix at different times. We see the phoenix when she can't find the camp, after she leaves the village to kind of take her father's place. She kind of seems lost. We see the phoenix there. Is it necessarily needed? No. However, beautifully, like, I made the joke to myself. Yes, I'm that corny. I make jokes to myself. While watching the movie, that the Phoenix basically just looked like Ho-Oh from the Pokemon cartoon animated series. But nonetheless, it was beautifully done. We see it there. We see it after Mulan has a fight with the witch, which I will get to the witch. Do not worry. She has a fight with the witch for the first time. And after she's like, oh my God, I'm not dead. Boom, we see the Phoenix again. And then probably my favorite imagery from the entire movie, and yet again, bad movie can have some good parts, is at the very end when she's going to save the Emperor and she's fighting Khan. The Emperor says something, who Jet Li, amazingly done for the Emperor, but he says, now rise like the Phoenix. And I'm like, oh, I see what you're doing there. But I did not expect them to do what they did next, where the Phoenix came up and the wings just shot out. And it was like, holy shit. The way it's like behind Mulan, and then it looked like Mulan had these like Phoenix wings and was like rising like the Phoenix. Imagery wise, really nicely done. Chef's kiss, as the younger kids would say nowadays. But that's pretty much one of the only things I could say was that good in this movie. So sceneries, set pieces, loved them. They really played in to the real life atmosphere of a live action movie. The other thing that I thought was nicely done was the music. The music that they had was not bad, and it actually was really good at times. Like, for example, there was the scene before the matchmaker. Since this didn't have music, it was like, okay, how are they going to play to the old music that everyone loves from the original? And while they're getting her ready for the matchmaker, she was like, the music behind her was Bring Honor to Us All. Now, was it the exact same version? No, it was like a more calm version of Bring Honor to Us All that I'm kind of like, okay, I dig that. There was later on in the film, they played nods to Reflection, which I'm like, okay, all right, I'm digging that. However, the one thing I'm going to get into is there are some negatives when it comes to movie references or music references in this movie, but that's where they did it well. They had some nice musical moments, like the Bring Honor to Us All and the Reflection nods were nice. I didn't have problems with it. And probably the third thing that I would say is a positive is 3 characters. I'm not going to say, like, a lot of the things in this, I'm not going to put against the actors or actresses in this movie, because I think a lot of the problems stem from the characters and stem from the actual script and how everything was written. So with me, I'm not going to say anything bad about the actors and actresses, because I do feel like these workers, these workers were kind of just, they were given what they were given, and they were just trying to make the best out of it. So I don't think there were any performances that were like, wow, the actress that played Mulan was very bad. No, it wasn't like that. It was this character was badly written and wasn't written that well at all. So the thing that I did like, though, the only 3 characters that I thought, and I can't, you know what? I'm not going to say they're written well. I'm going to say that the actors for these 3, because they were 3 male characters, were able to bring the most out of the shitty writing that was written for them. Was the father, the Emperor, who I mentioned was played by Jet Li, and then Khan, who those 3 characters, I felt like the guys who played them, they really did a really good job with those. Those were the 3 characters that I was like, you know what? Despite the script being so bad, I liked these characters. And yeah, that's pretty much all the positives I have. Just 3. And now to move on into the negatives. And I've got a couple of negatives, and that's just me being polite about it. And I didn't know where I was going to start with this one. And I feel like the best place to start is the number one thing that if it was fixed, this wouldn't be a bad movie, or it wouldn't be as bad as it was. And that's the pacing of the movie, especially very early. I felt like the pacing was off. It was like scene, to where it's like, okay, there's no real exposition here. And when you don't have things to kind of draw out and explain itself, you're not going to have the audience feel for the character. Like with the original, the thing that I thought of, like, it's like the scene after she sees the matchmaker and she sings Reflection, and it's kind of a nice, beautiful, and I know this movie was not doing songs. It wasn't a musical, which is fine. You can be different in that sense. But the thing that scene did in the original was it kind of changed things up. It got the audience to think about things from the character's point of view. Like later on, after she makes the decision of like, I'm going to take my father's place, we see it wasn't even a song. It was just music behind her actions of like, she's going to put the armor on. She's going to take the sword. She's going to cut her hair, and then she's going to ride off. Where this one was just, I see my father with the sword. I dance around with the sword, and then boom, I'm gone. Because even the little part of, and this is one thing that was taken out that I was like, I really wish was kept in it, was when the father gets his orders of like, I'm going to go. And obviously they did the whole thing where he falls and then gets back up, and it's like, no, you can't help him because you'll embarrass him more. The one scene that I love from the original is when the father goes down there and he looks at his armor and he pulls out his sword, that when he tries to do the like sword dance that he does, and then boom, he falls. Like, that to me as a kid was like, ooh, it kind of cemented things a little bit of like why she has to do this. But he just went down there. Oh, he looked at it. Oh, it looks good. And then boom, went on the way. And then we kind of saw Mulan do it. And it's like, okay, I get it. You're trying to get her to do it, but it didn't hit the same. But like in this new one, we didn't get any of that because we didn't have Reflection. I didn't really get that same vibe of how I should feel for Mulan. It was kind of like, know your place. Oh, I have to do this. Maybe if I do this, my family will respect me. Or maybe I'm just inferring that because I've seen the original. And then boom, she's off. And it's like, okay. I also feel because the pacing was so rough, the other thing that I put down here as a negative on my thing, I put the camaraderie of the army was lacking. Didn't feel connected to the fellow army mates like I did in the original. And in this one, they did change it up. You had the original, basically Ling, Yao, Po. You had all those originals. They added some new ones like I think it was Po in this one was, because that's another thing. They mention them like, oh, Yao. It's like, okay, I know who Yao is. Oh, Ling. Okay, I know who Ling is. They mentioned Cricket, which I kind of feel was their way to, hey, we're going to pay homage, or it's a reference to the Cricket from the original, because he says a line like, oh, I'm Cricket. My grandmother says I bring good luck. So it's like, okay, I see what you're doing there. But then they had, I think it was Po. This new character was basically supposed to be Donny Osmond's character from the original, or the one that Donny Osmond sang for, the commander's son from the original. And to me, it's like I didn't get the same level of like, why should I care for these guys? Because really the only one that got time was the one that was supposed to be the commander's son. I'm just going to call it Po. If I'm wrong on that, I'm sorry. But like, they never explained it. They never put it out there. They were just like, oh, you're just supposed to know who this is. This new army mate who wasn't in the original. They had the 3 regulars. Because even like one of the negatives, and this goes with the pacing too, is they also just jammed in and kind of fucking shoehorned music lines in, where when they're at the camp, they're like, oh, we're going to reference Make a Man, like, we're going to make men out of you. And later on, they quote lyrics from I'll Make a Man Out of You, kind of like, hey, guys, you like that, right? You like Make a Man Out of You. No, I'm not going to give you Make a Man Out of You. We can't give you that. But, ooh, we can give you lines. You like that, right? And the other one was there was a short scene, could have been cut completely, because it didn't do enough to kind of make me care about the army mates is when they're all sitting around the table. Ling's got a drawing, a painting of a girl, which is supposed to remind him of the girl he's been matched made with. And Cricket goes, "Oh, Ling's a romantic." And then they just start in between them just spouting off lines of like, "Oh, what do you want in a girl?" And they're quoting lines from Girl Worth Fighting For. And then Mulan says what she says in the song. And I'm sitting there going, guys, I get it. I get it. This is supposed to be a cheeky like, hey, I know that song. It just didn't hit. It just didn't hit at all with me. It didn't land right. It was like, oh, you're trying to force a movie quote in there. And I feel like this goes back to the pacing. This goes back to the forced movie lines. It goes forced to the not being able to connect to these characters. I feel like this movie wanted to be its own thing. It's like, you know what? We want to take a leap. We want to do something different. Maybe focus more on Chinese culture with what they kind of did. Like with the scenery, and then something I'm going to get to in a little bit. They tried to, but I feel like it was stuck between that rock and a hard place of, hey, we want to be different. Oh, but we have this checklist of things from the original that we have to hit in order for Disney to sign off on this movie. So like, for me, it was like, well, what do you want to be? Do you want to be the original, or do you want to be your own thing? It's fine to be either or. Just take a step in that direction. Don't be in the middle, because that's where this movie kind of was. So I know I've been all over too. This is going to be a ranty review because I didn't like the movie and my thoughts are just all over the place. But yeah, pacing leads into forced movie lines. The comrades of the army not being able to connect with any of the characters. All of this kind of goes together. But the last thing that I had that they're kind of 1A and 1B, or on my list, they'd be 4A and 4B, 5A, 5B, however you want to number my list right now, is Chi and then the witch. And I'm going to get into Chi first because I saw a comment online in one of the, it was from the Nostalgia Critics movie review. In his comment section, I saw a woman post a comment and it basically read this, and I loved it. And I'm like, I got to include that in my movie review because they hit it spot on. They basically said, so being a normal woman growing up in a man's world isn't possible without superpowers. And that's what this was. They mentioned Chi. They go, ooh, you're Chi. Ooh, you're Chi. Ooh, the witch is strong because she's got Chi. But they never fucking explain it. They never go into what this Chi is. Why does it make you special? All we know is that the witch has Chi. That's how she's able to transform into a bird, and why her hand's a talon, and why she's able to do all this cool shit. Because I'll be honest, chalk it back up to a positive. The fight scenes, really good. The scenes with the witch where she was like kind of fighting people and doing her thing, really, really good. I liked it. But everything about her I didn't like. Like, all we know is Chi, the witch, has it. That's what gives her powers. And apparently Mulan has Chi. That's all we know. That's all we know. The only thing they hint to is, oh, you're being dishonest, so your Chi is weakened. That's it. That's all we know. And it's like, it comes back to the thing of what I was saying, be your own thing or be the original. If you want to be your own thing and you want to say, you know what, this movie, we're going to explain Chi, then fucking explain Chi. Have a scene where you explain it. Go into what you mean with this, because if you don't do that, I don't know what you mean. It's just kind of like, to me, then I just get, oh, it's a Chinese movie, or oh, it's Chinese culture. Chi. We mentioned Chi. It's like you're pandering at that point, and you don't want to pander. That's what I got from it. But to go on into the witch, I hated this character. I knew I was going to hate this character from the first time I saw her in the trailer. And yet again, It has nothing to do with the actress that played her. It has nothing to do with that. It wasn't a sense of, wow, this was a shitty performed character. It was a character that didn't need to be in this movie. And this is the one thing of this movie that, yes, I know I've listed off a lot of negatives, but this is the one coming in I knew I was not going to be able to get past. I was not going to be able to have, backtrack. Was going to be able to have an open mind about if it was done right, and it wasn't, because this character took so much away from the villain of this movie. Like, Khan in the original, and of course he's no father from I'm trying to think of his name. Of course he's no Frollo. I can't believe I was blanking on that name. He's no Frollo from Hunchback in Notre Dame, but Khan in this one, who is Shang Yu, in the original, I feel by having the witch character there, you take away all of the, like, my exact notes. I'm going to just scroll up and go back to it, because while I was watching the movie, I'm jotting down notes so that I could come up with a kind of bullet point list for this review, and I put down exactly, I got to find it really quick. Yeah, Khan is a badass. Why the need for the witch? Totally not needed. Takes away from Khan's BA-ness. And that's exactly what she did. Where in the original, I remember it, maybe, yet again, maybe it's because I was a kid, but I feel like how they had Shang Yu written in the original was he was just supposed to be intimidating. That is what he was there to be. Like the opening scene of Mulan, where he kind of storms the Great Wall and they light the fire. And it's like, foo, 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 foo. And then someone goes, now all of China will know you're here. And he just looks and he goes, great. And it's just like, oh my God, he is such a badass. Like, he is supposed to be just intimidating, a force. Like, he is supposed to be the boogeyman, the haunt in the night that you are afraid of. And I don't get, like, I get that from Khan here in this one, and they kind of do it a little different, where it's like, oh, the Emperor killed, it'd basically be, oh, the Emperor killed Shan Yu, so this is Shan Yu's son. But I don't get a feel of how badass this character should be until the very end, until he's fighting Mulan, where he says a line that basically Shan Yu says at the in the original. That I'm like, cool, that's a throwback. I like that. That was all well written. And basically how he dies, I got it. I kind of liked it, where it was like he went to catch the arrow, but the arrow went through and hit him in the chest. But the witch in general, I feel, took away from him being a badass, to where I was almost expecting, if you were going to have her be in it, two things needed to be done and changed for this to work. Is number one, I feel like you would have to explain Chi, maybe at the beginning of the movie. How you open it is, instead of opening on Mulan, explain what Chi is. Have an explanation of, hey, we're setting up this world, we're setting up this culture. Chi is going to be an important part of the story and a mechanic of this story. Let's set it up. So that's number one. Number two, to make the witch work, I feel like we have to have a flashback. We have to have something about her childhood, except for the fact of Khan just mentions, oh, you were a dog on my footstep. You were no longer wanted, and now you're my slave, kind of a thing. Give me something. Give me a flashback. Give me anything to kind of actually see with my own eyes what had happened to her. And then the third thing, if we were going to make the witch, two things. The third thing, if we were going to make the witch work, is we'd have to have more of a give and take between her and Mulan. I felt like they wanted to do that during the battle, the first battle. Like I said, in the original, it was the one with the firecracker, that boo avalanche. But in this one, when they had that first meeting between her and Mulan, I didn't feel it completely. I didn't feel what they wanted. Like, I knew what they wanted me to feel, but I couldn't feel it because there was no buildup. There was no buildup to this meeting, and it was just kind of like chi, chi, chi. Oh, chi's a thing. Chi, 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 chi. That's all it was to me. Like, it didn't have any meaning. So you would have to obviously build that up a little bit. But, like, have her and Mulan stories intertwined in a sense. And number 4 is I was expecting this to happen, and then it didn't happen, where I was like, all right, I kind of feel robbed of this in a sense of, I would have made her turn on Khan, because they were setting up to it perfectly, where the whole thing of like, her and Khan have the first conversation where he says, you were a dog on my doorstep. I took you in. I gave you purpose. But then there was the other one where she flies in as the Hawk, and he's talking to the other leaders, or the other nomads, I should say, and he's basically like just disregarding her. Don't worry. She works for me. She knows her place. And she even looks like, huh? They were setting up to a fucking turn where it was like, no, Khan is not the real bad guy. She's the one you should be worried about. And that would have been like, if they would have done that, done all of those 4 things, give me something on her backstory, set her up to where like we actually understood what she was, have a kind of give and take with Mulan, like that would give the give and take with Mulan a little bit more meaningful, have that written a little better, and then have a turn to where it's like, oh no, she's the big baddie. Then I would have been okay. I would have been okay with them being like, okay, we're changing the script, because they would have taken a leap. That is what I am like, that's what I'm upset with this witch character, is I feel like, oh, here she is. Because like I said, when I saw the trailer and Johnny and I talked about it, I said, there's no reason to have the Hawk turn into a person. Like, there's no why. Like, there's no explanation for that in my mind. So, like, that's what I would do to at least make it to where it's like, okay, I understand what you are doing and that leap that you want to take. Other than that, the only last point that I feel like, because the 2 points that I had was, one I already touched upon. I felt like it was between a rock and a hard place where they wanted to do something different, but they were forced to be handcuffed to the original. So like I've talked about that. I don't need to talk about it again. But the last thing that I think needs to be brought up, because the more and more these remakes by Disney come out, we're just going to have this discussion of, are these remakes really needed? Or is this just Disney saying, hey, we knew you liked Mulan. We know you'll buy it for $30 again. We know you'll go to the theater and spend $15 on it after COVID is done. And with me thinking back, and I'm thinking back of the ones that I've seen. So Beauty and the Beast, was it perfect? No, it had its flaws. But I liked it. I wasn't upset with Beauty and the Beast. Aladdin. I really liked Aladdin. Was it perfect? No. I know people like Dave mentioned where it's like, oh, I wish they would have went more Bollywood with it, because that would have fit into the style of that movie and it would have been different from the original. Did they change things? Absolutely. But I liked those 2 movies. Then you've got the other side of the remakes. Dumbo is a heaping pile of dog shit, where that was a movie where they took and they said, hey, how can we make money off of Dumbo? Oh, let's write a story that's not even in the original. Also, let's take the best character, the mouse who can talk, and basically make it to where he can't talk. That to me just didn't make sense. Then The Lion King, where The Lion King was exactly nearly shot for shot like the original, but they took everything that made these characters likable and relatable out of the movie. And to me, that is the biggest thing with Mulan. The characters aren't relatable. I don't have a connection to any character in this movie, and that is a problem. That is how you pull someone in. You make them feel like I should give a shit about this character. Lion King hasn't done it. Mulan hasn't done it. These remakes, is it just going to get to a point where, because like they're going to do Hercules, they want to do Little Mermaid. I'll be completely honest, I'm not excited for these remakes anymore. I'm nearly at the point where I'm like, should these remakes even exist? Or is this just the cash cow trying to get more money out of us because people like me who are in their 30s and millennials will basically, hey, I'm going to go see this because I liked it as a kid. Like, I feel like that's where we're at. And I feel like they're just going to keep making them because we're going like, for example, I spent $30. Disney did not give me a free copy of Mulan. I spent $30 to watch Mulan. And I can make this make this video and tell you how bad the movie was. But it doesn't change the fact that they still got my money. I can't get that money back for a bad movie. So like for me, these remakes are just going to keep coming. They're probably not going to be good. And I'm starting to get to the point where I was never there before. Like I said, Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, I liked those two. Basically, it's now 2 for 3 out of the remakes. Didn't really watch Cinderella. Didn't really watch Maleficent. But I heard good things from Maleficent. That's probably the only one I heard good things from. Cinderella, I did not. But I mean, yeah, we're getting to a point where when will we say enough is enough and we just won't watch these? I won't, because I watch them to review them to then give my opinions to you guys. So unless Disney's going to give me free copies, I'm going to keep buying them to be able to talk to you about them. But yeah, it's just a fact of the remakes in general. When does the point get to, hey, they're not good, we're just not going to watch them anymore? But that's going to do it. That's going to wrap up everything for this review. Parts might have gotten a little ranty. Usually they do when I don't like movies. So how I'm going to end this review is how we usually do here at MVP. I'm going to give you my MVP for the movie. Even though it sucked, I got to give you an MVP. And then I'm going to give you out of 5 stars what I thought of it. And the MVP for me, yet again, it comes down to, I think it would have been a tougher choice if the script was better and I actually gave a shit about these characters. Like Mulan had a great performance, but she just wasn't written well. Though I'm going to give it to Jet Li, though, who played the Emperor. And the reason why is I felt like maybe it was because he reminded me, like, he wasn't exactly like the Emperor from the original, but he had hints of the Emperor from the original. And I feel like he did a good job. He served his role. And yeah, he was the only character out of this that like I had any connection to based on his performance. So I'm going to give it to Jet Li, although, like I said, the script kind of hurt everyone else when it came to this movie. And out of 5 stars, throughout the entire thing, I was juggling between a 1 and a 2. And I think I can't go middle ground. I'm going to give it a 1 out of 5 stars. Because to me, my thinking of it is like, there were enough good things to get a star. A 0 obviously would be don't watch this, and really a 1 out of 5, don't watch it. But I feel like with the scenery and all the like the beauty, like the movie looked beautiful. It did. The costumes, the scenes, the fight choreography. It was a really well filmed movie. It just had a dog shit script. Like someone literally just shit on the script and said, "Here you go, Disney. That's what we got." So with that being said, and the music was good in my mind, even though it wasn't a musical, it still had good music to it. I gotta give it a 1. Like that's enough to get maybe 1 star from me, but still, this is not a movie that I would go out and watch. I would stay away from it. Like, if you're thinking about watching it, just stay away from it. Wait till it's free in December. Don't blow your $30 on this movie unless you're like, oh my God, I've got to see it. Then see it and let me know what you think down below. And like I said earlier, if you like the movie, please let me know why you liked it. And this is not a thing of like, you're wrong, you shouldn't think that way. I honestly, like I said earlier, want to know how the other side thinks, because I did not like this movie at all. So that's going to do it for me talking about this movie. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Also, make sure to join the Discord. Link is also down below in the description. All the fans of Real MVP can come together, and we do have a movies tab where we can talk about movies between the fans, the boys, the patrons, everyone from the MVP family can get together and talk about movies in the Discord. But we also got much more than just movies: TV, gaming, sports, so anything really under the sun we talk about in that Discord. Also, patreon.com/MVPvids. That is how you support the channel. That is how you basically help us keep doing what we love to do here at MVP, for MVP Entertainment and MVP Sports. So those two things are the only things I got to promote here. Make sure to check out our other videos on the channel. Hit that subscribe button if you like what we're doing here and want to get more movie reviews, because I will be reviewing more movies. But yeah, that's going to do it for me. Tell me what you think down below. And as always, have a good day, everybody.